Awesome.
Sick. Are you a headphones guy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Yes, I am. And I will probably turn the monitor off at some point because I stare at myself in the monitor. Do you do this?
Wait, where is the monitor?
Well, it's behind you.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't be looking at you.
Are we hot?
Okay, hold on. Go back to Maren for a minute. Go back to me. Am I a little now hot compared to Maren? You should never. I believe the host should never be more illuminated than the guest.
No, I meant like hot as in sexy.
Oh my God, yes.
Not like the lights are too hot. No.
If you're asking me to give you the confidence
Am
that
I hot?
in this interview, whether you look
Okay.
hot or not, yes. In
Thanks.
fact, I'm
I
always.
don't have a monitor, so I trust you.
It looks great.
Great.
You look
Thank
great.
Thank you. So do you, sir.
I say it looks great so that I don't feel uncomfortable saying you look great.
So it's not objectifying me.
Yeah. But I also feel like every
Go
time I
for
see.
it.
Can I?
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I'll objectify you about. Every time I see you again, I am once again taken aback by your compactness.
Yeah.
And not just compact, and I'm not just laying this on. You have like this dense kind of star power thing about you.
Oh, I thought you meant like my height.
That too.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Thanks.
too. Yeah.
I wore like heels today because you were very tall. But then we're sitting, so it really doesn't matter.
Did you have any dress puzzles? Because I'd never. You can't look back at a previous interview I've done here, so you had to kind of.
I know.
Is this the first pick, or were there rejects before
This felt like the one today. I don't know why.
Are you working out of a suitcase because you're in LA?
I am. Yeah. I'm here for a few days. What have you been up to?
You know when you hear the first thing back that's new, that you get a sense of yourself in a new way?
Yeah.
And it kind of guides the way for the new record?
Yeah.
I caught it.
Oh, that's so
I caught it.
refreshing and probably relieving.
Yes, because, and I don't know if you're like this, every time I make a record that comes out, I imagine that was the last I was ever going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good fail-safe. But it is so scary before that moment because for me, it's not so much this is never going to happen again. Well, actually, yes, that's exactly how it feels. It feels like this is never going to go well again.
Yeah.
And then a song or a sound or just a concept will unveil itself when it's supposed to. And then you're like, oh, thank fucking God.
It's not exactly imposter syndrome. Someone said the other day, oh, that's imposter syndrome. And I said, it's not, because
it's deeper than that.
Whatever the thing that makes you write music doesn't quite belong to you.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is always, will it show up?
It's bestowed upon.
Yes. So in the songs on your new EP, Intermission, what was that point of entry into knowing you were going to go on and write more? Which of the five was the introduction to you making the rest of them?
Ooh. Well, I mean, the oldest, like the first technical song, I suppose, that was written for it was Because of Course, which I wrote that in the summer of 2023, kind of before a lot of my life imploded. Mm-hmm. And I wrote that for my son. That was that was my point of entry, was just a eternal love song that is just about, the love I have for him. Yeah. But the rest of it, thematically, just sort of touching on, divorce and just fracture, and also like rediscovery of self. I guess like I Hope I Never Fall in Love was that, and then just really quickly waterfalled into the other songs being written. So that was my entry point, and then songs like Cut, Push Me Over ended up being sort of like this life force of the EP that wasn't just super heavy. Right. It was like this dose of
But also none of it's super heavy, and I think that's what I'm so interested in is it's not a divorce record. When I think about a divorce record, I think of kind of this deep plunging into pain and darkness. And it's the same question I'd ask about writing a song about your son. While you're writing these things that are about these distinct, powerful, profound things, are you also thinking about the universality of the music you put out so that it could be specific about your son, but it also could be used? Are you thinking about the use cases other people would have for these songs?
I never thought about it that way until, sorry to like name drop one of my own songs.
Let's go.
With The Bones. Mm-hmm. That was like a very romantic love song when I wrote it. I wrote it, right after I got engaged. And so as it took on a life of its own, years pass, and even more so now after, the pandemic and everything, it just took on more universal realms.
I
And
thought you were
so,
going to say it was about buying a house at first.
well, I know that you, yeah, if we get into the nitty gritty of it, sure.
Yeah.
Like the bones are good.
It's great. First of all, the best thing about country is repurposing fragments of speech. And at some point, someone must have heard, and it's got good bones. Bones of the House are good. And they went, oh, that's a song. But keep going on, on sort of the, well, you wrote Bones, but that sort of happens anytime you write about love or relationship, because that's kind of universal. Especially writing about a child, in my mind, in my unmarried, no kid mind, I always thought the song about your son or daughter was alienating to everyone else, because it was like, little baby.
Yeah, what is it? Butterfly kisses.
Yeah, things like that.
It's gonna go there,
like
extreme, like instant father-daughter dance material.
There's no "Mommy Loves You" in that song, which is what's great about it, because it's still so that would mean that you sort of just automatically have a sense of how to be universal when you're writing, and be metaphorical enough to keep the picture open.
Yeah, I think that's intentional for sure. The day you're writing it is just to keep it, specific but general enough to apply to romantic or non-romantic love. So, I mean, those are special when you can get it right. But I think obviously with with that song, it's like, I'm always gonna love you because of course. Like, duh. Of course. Yeah.
I'm only interested in the divorce part of things, in how it makes you see yourself as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously divorce is profound, and it's a new way forward, to put it in the most kind of optimistic way. Mm-hmm. But it also sends you back socially into a lifestyle that you most likely thought you were done with.
Yeah.
So what's it like to write a record that once again revisits single life?
I mean, it's been a journey, and I have these moments, and I will say, like, what they say is true, where it is like a death. It's a grief that you're going through. And we also have our son, who's 4.5 now. And so it is, like, in a way, the most important relationship we still will always have with each other, that no one else is going to touch. So we will know each other forever through our son. And I think in sort of a broader, more positive sense is, I think we were maybe brought together in this life to have him. And so knowing each other as parents, co-parents, it's been, only 1 year, but it's been really wonderful to, like, find that version of each other. But if we're getting into, like, the brass tacks of going not backwards, but certainly it's forwards, but it's a new version of dating. So I never really dated. I was in, like, 2 back-to-back long relationships. And obviously, they both ended. And this is the first time I've truly dated. And it sucks.
It sucks.
It's fucking terrible.
It sucks.
But it's illuminating. I mean, I guess I learned something each time.
But and I can't wait to get into that, because I think we both have notes to compare about this, and I love now that you and I can relate to something, because sometimes I look up, I have to imagine that you never thought that the Maren Morris on record singing into a microphone, the hero of the movie, would sing about the single life again. Or were you always going to imagine yourself back into that role? Or did you say, wow, I really thought I was done writing songs about that particular spark of relationship that precedes something? Did you have a conscious thought of, I have to go back and put these high heels on in this song? And did you have to date kind of in the songwriting mind to get these songs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty candid about that too. I mean, it's like, we're writing life, and we're supposed to be storytellers. So I don't know how you not do that without some, like, road testing.
But no sadness in reconciling that. You just went, all right, let's make those songs.
Yeah, and perhaps I pushed myself a little bit too quickly into the dating thing, just because I was like, I've never done this before, so let's go. And it's just interesting. I think I've met, like, a lot of great people, and then I just know way quicker, like, what I'm not going to put up with. And so that's sort of, I guess, something I've learned about myself post divorce, is that I just see red flags within like 3 dates.
I know.
And so Yeah.
What are some of the new? What's the most recent addition to the list of things that you won't do anymore when it comes to dating?
I mean, I certainly, I'm a bit of a hard-headed, stubborn, Texan. So when there's conflict or arguments or miscommunication, I do think in the past I've been extremely tough to engage and apologize. That's a tough one.
But why are there any conflicts in the first 3 dates?
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
no, no.
way too
No,
soon.
no, no.
I think I just and this is probably going to be the toughest thing for me, and this is probably why I need to be alone for a while, is that I know who I am and I know who I am within myself. I also know how to separate myself and identity from what I do for a
Yeah.
living, which is a new thing.
And other people have a harder time doing that than
That's going to be the tough part,
know.
is someone that's strong enough to be with someone like me and know that there's a lot of distance, proximity wise, a lot of days away, and a lot of things also, like not just the artistry, but me being a mom, like it's just they're never going to be number one. So if there is someone that is so strong in themselves and they just want, and also they have a job,
gainfully employed
great.
is a big
That
one.
would be sick.
Why have you dated like the proverbial guy in his garage who's working on art who swears he's going to make it?
I wouldn't say he was working on art, but I think I don't really want to be like with anyone that's still figuring their thing out.
Sure.
I think I just need to be with someone that already has their purpose, is super self-motivated, and obviously, like I want someone that's like funny and kind, and they just have no insecurities with what I do.
So you know what I think that comes down to, and everybody wants to talk about, is it a celebrity eventually? Is it not a celebrity
or
eventually?
like a plumber that doesn't know who I am.
But it could be a plumber, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel this way or don't, I think the variable is, do you have a big life? I think we have big lives.
Yeah.
With many different people we talk to before we even have lunch. The manager, the lawyer about this thing, we roll calls. We know so many people. It's a very expansive life. I think and I really want to tag in on this because you're being so honest. I want to show my notes too.
Please. Let's get into it.
She doesn't have to be famous, but I think a bigger life, whether she's the charge nurse on a floor at Cornell Hospital in New York, a big life means you have a pager, you have a cell phone, you may have to go in at 1 o'clock in the morning, you have people you report to. What can happen sometimes is even sometimes you can meet someone who's on a show or someone who's in a band. Let's say you meet some and they have a pretty insular life. I think what makes celebrities, quote unquote, unique is the size of their life, not exactly what they're doing. Does that check out with your thinking?
No, I think you've worded it in a way I have never thought about before. So you're right. I mean, it's expansive, and it's a lot that we're already like. If there's someone that you're dating that has a full life themselves, they have priorities, they have friends, they're close to their family, they love their job, like they feel purposeful, and they're not meeting you to be like to add anything else except attention and love and light to it. I think it's just so tough right now for me to sort of picture someone that is there already.
In terms of arrived in their own personal story, that you're not going to affect one way or the other so much, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That you can kind of parallel your lives together.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? If that exists.
Yeah. I mean, you have band members, you have band members, tour manager, booking agent. It's just a big life. And I think to the best of my ability, that's what I've come up with.
I just find it to be like a huge turn on when someone, like, without your guidance or help or anything, just knows what they want to do with themselves, and they will have the drive. And that's also like what sort of leads people into insecurity or confusion or even like depression sometimes, is that they're so unfocused that they end up looking to you for a lot. And that's maybe a pattern of people.
So then the word fiercely independent, does that apply to you then?
Yeah, I think some independence, because I am so that, but also communicative, consistent, not flighty, but also not passive aggressively up your ass all day, every day.
I think the word, after all of the words that get used in dating, the only word that matters is cooperative.
Yeah.
We forget the little words sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, hey, cooperate.
Yeah.
Just cooperate.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess there's just, I mean, not to make this like an entire dating episode, but there is just something like so, and maybe you could speak to this more as someone that's dated longer than I have, because it's only been a few months for me, but I do think there's something just, whether you take some lesson or song out of it or not, there's just something so like embarrassing about this.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just
Yeah.
living.
Yeah.
It's like the risk and gift of being alive.
Saying. So let me tell you what I thought when you said that your kid is always going to be number one.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying. My first thought was, whew.
Yeah, that you took that off the plate.
Because that's less pressure.
Yeah.
I think we both might feel the same way. Like, I feel pressured when someone looks at me as a bigger part of what's going on with them than it might be for me at that moment.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, if you want to know my cross to bear.
Let's go.
I might get a date with somebody, and on their way into the date, they're probably thinking, I know it's him. Let's just do it. He's probably going to be this, that, and that. And they come into the date with their preconceived notion. And their preconceived notion is most of the time that I'm going to somehow try to give them shit, or that I'm going to be combative, at least intellectually combative. And so they come in hyper defensive, almost combative without any combat. Then they realize...
Do they have like a cache of jokes ready to go for you?
I think they... No, it's not jokes, because that would be them sort of submitting to me. Mm-hmm. They think I'm going to work things on them.
Yeah.
Because as best they can piece me together, it's probably sarcasm. It's probably a little bit of like manipulation intellectually. And so they're just... And at a certain point, they realize, oh, he's not doing that. And that might be an hour and a half into the thing.
Yeah.
But that's an hour and a half of me going, come on. So by the time I get home, I take my socks off and I go, well, we tried.
Yeah.
They take their socks off and go, whoa, that guy was completely different than I thought. I think I might like this guy.
They're like in love with you.
Okay, so but it's...
And you're probably exhausted.
I'm exhausted. The thing they're in love with is how wrong they were. That's not my responsibility.
Sure.
I still get to choose whether I liked it or not. And
Of course.
half of it I didn't like. I liked the idea that I saw your shoulders drop and you started to become real with me. And you went home going, maybe I go on tour. Maybe I go to these shows. And what's really happening is they're falling, not for me, but for the experience of thinking they were going to have a -5 and having a 6. Well, that's a spread of 11 points.
Yeah.
Right? And I was going in just to be a person, and I went, wow, this is really tough. And when I got home, I went, I'm glad I went. Can we do drinks instead of dinners? Because these are 3-hour runs.
I can't even do...
What I'd rather do is just pretend we've known each other for a while and just go for it. And I'll find out...
Cosplay. Not intimacy, but just familiarity, just to get through... Yeah.
But because sometimes, not to jump around, sometimes when I do that, it gets accused of being love bombing.
Okay.
So the whole thing, what I'm telling you is the whole thing is fraught with peril.
Yeah.
And and the other thing is, do you drink? Do you drink alcohol? That's for dating. What a great crutch.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I stopped drinking.
Yeah, I know. So if you're going on, because it's lower pressure just to meet for a drink.
I can't do the drink thing,
Yeah.
so I have to sit there and be really kind of confront anxiety about it all.
Yeah.
And I also think the first date should never be called the first date. I believe in something called date 0.
Right.
Date 0 is just figuring out if you even want to go on a date with that person.
I know, it's like a pre-interview.
That's what I want.
For the interview.
That's what so when you said someone else is always going to come first, I went, whew, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea, and this is my thing, is that something is being set up without my participation that's going to make me disappoint someone.
Yeah.
You have a problem disappointing people? I imagine you're the one saying, hey, listen, I'm not feeling it. It was nice to meet you. Do you have a disappointment problem, or can you confront it pretty easily?
I mean, I think it's tough to do, but you have to be able to do it now. Like, because I don't really believe in like ghosting. I think that sucks.
No, I believe in finally doing it, writing it, and then throwing your phone, yelling,
What?
screaming as you run away from it. Ah, I hate
Just don't
this!"
respond. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
It's so welcome back to that world. I'm
Thanks.
sorry you're back in it.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's interesting because I know everyone feels this on some level who has to go through this, but also if with you and my job of like performing anyways, like we do that for, our love of it, of course, to kind of go through the therapy of it, and also we love applause. Dating also being a performance is just so like, is there any moment of quiet or peace?
Yeah.
Will that ever be allowed to me again?
Which piece?
Just not being on.
Yeah.
And it's so backwards because the only time I've ever felt that is being married.
Yeah.
You're not on.
Also, let's add this into the mix. As you get older, the dimension of your mind in terms of all the potential that you want to experience in your life, it starts to get smaller in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
My situation, again, you're being so honest. I want to meet you in the middle on this. Didn't mean. I swear to God, I didn't.
Let's
I swear.
play it.
I swear to God.
Kidding.
And here it is now. It's the middle. I feel like a dad already. I just don't have kids, and biologically, things are happening in me that would be perfect to have happened. Being a dad.
Sure. Like what?
The shutting down of needing new information from other people. Meet this new person. Wow, that person's beautiful. Wow, maybe I want to see. I am so content to go home the way a dad would be content to go home. So I'm at the finish line, but too early because I didn't take anyone over the finish line with me. And so in a way, I got to the finish line before there was anyone with me, and you just moved back before the finish line again and looking for someone to cross the finish line with already.
Right.
So we both, in some way, have to kind of prime our heads again for things that we thought we wouldn't have to do again or felt like we don't want to do again.
Yeah.
I can feel your therapist, telepathically telling me, John, get to some other questions about the album.
What? I mean, I've said enough in other interviews about my music. I never see you.
I know.
We can talk in the last 5 minutes about the EP. But,
but I actually am really interested in why an EP and why not an album, because these 5 songs, by the way, are phenomenal. They sound like the 5 songs that would be the singles from a 12-song album.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking. They are solid as a rock A+ songs.
Thank you.
And I think you know that because that's why you put them out. But the question is, did you set out to make an EP or did you set out to make an album and you got real excited and wanted the world to hear it already?
I mean, that for sure, the latter. I think I had other songs that probably could have made an album, but it's just, it takes so long to get the record out.
I know.
There's like the vinyl pressing.
I know.
All of the artwork, a video or two, just content. And then also by the time it's out and you've got this whole promo week, you're playing the Tonight Show, you're doing SiriusXM, like you have it all planned months in advance. And I don't know, by the time you get there, on a cellular level and just emotionally, I feel like I will be a different person by then. So the EP idea was floated and I just was like, I love EPs. I've put one out before.
They're bite-sized. Everyone can get into it.
They're digestible.
Yes.
But I still, hold on to this romanticism of being like an album artist. And
so the next album will not contain these songs.
No, I think some of it. I mean, I'm still writing. This is the funny thing. Every time I'm out here, I'm like writing or doing something to that. But I think, I just wanted it out while I was still in the middle of the.
I get it. Everything else in life has changed to accommodate the new way that people do things and consume things. And the album is still the album. And we're all looking for ways to make putting out music more immediate.
Yeah.
But then you get into the marketing thing where it's like, well, if you have an album, you can set it up for 6 months, then you have a better chance. And there's I'll be in the shower sometimes and go, a song a month? What about a subscription thing? Song a month? Because it is the last holdover from 20 years ago, the way we did things. And to say nothing of the fact you give up a year of your life to write it. Mm-hmm. So you're off the scene while you're doing that. Then you set it up. And, the elephant in the room in some ways is that the market's changed so much that, I mean, when you first put music out, music got noticed when it was great. Do you feel that there's so much airspace traffic now that you have to adjust your expectations even when your music's great, that it might not hit as many people as before because 100 and something thousand songs come out a week, maybe more than that?
Yeah, I do have to humble myself to the wave of what it looks like now. And I think a lot of artists do, even like the massive sort of like Hot 100 artists, or that they know if I put this out in 1 week, it's going to be #1 on the album chart. But like, I just, well, first off, like I'm not there, and
Not
it's
there
not.
where?
Well, I'm just not gunning for like a #1 album when I put records out. I never have.
Interesting.
And I think for me now, and what I've sort of always stood by, whether it was like my first record and singles or now, is that, and I've brought you up in this instance because this conversation reminded me of when you did that charity show in Montana 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple summers ago you came to it.
Yeah, and you were playing all of
Born and
Raised. And you just said something really profound and like what I needed to hear that night, which was when you put that album out, there were a lot of people that did not, they were like, this doesn't sound like what you've done before. This doesn't sound like Continuum. And you were like, that's 10 years ago since this has been out, or almost. And you said people have now met this like yearbook moment of this record and they love it a decade later, like it lived through something with them.
But that's what, and thank you for saying that, but you're doing that perfectly. A record has 2 lives.
Yeah.
The Friday it comes out till about the Wednesday after that.
Yeah.
Or if you have singles, then as long as the singles are out for.
Yeah.
And something else that happens if they mature into something that's useful forever.
Right. It's just so much is out of my control.
That's right.
And I think that's scary because it used to be like you put all your trust and weight in the label and the songs, of course, but then it's completely 180'd. And now it's so much more about like tidbits of songs, TikToks, engagement with fans, like through these mediums, still playing shows here and there. Oh, and then we'll do an album later, and then you'll do a post-album EP. It's just like constant. And then like a single, are people still doing, it's tough to even say.
It's hard to even tell. People will have videos that have been out for a year and I've never seen the video.
Yeah,
but
right.
The one thing that matters the most is the set list. And your set list is stacked. You must know when you're on that stage. I mean, everything from every album that you've put out, it's almost like you're a great fashion designer where you can mix and match pieces of that brand's clothing from spring 2012 with fall 2020, and it all looks great still. I feel like
your artistry like pours through no matter the date.
Whatever the thing is that might not be white magnesium burning hot when the thing comes out makes it stable to a point where when you look down at your set list on your most tired night, you go, oh, that's coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's such an excitement. And it's lean.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we've had this conversation too, where it's like, it doesn't matter if you are the biggest artist in the world and everything is like #1 songs, the whole set list. Like everyone in the middle of the show has that like 1 or 2 song slog.
Yep.
Where it dips, the energy dips.
You have no dip.
Well, I think you always try to avoid the dip.
I don't think you have a dip. I've been to your shows and I see no dip.
Well, neither do you. And obviously, like the longer you're around and you have this like discography and this giant archive of wonderful like seasons of songs, I think that's like obviously that's going to happen. But no, I mean, I've put 3 records out in this EP, and so. And then I've done like collaborations over the years, but thank you. That's such a compliment.
I always say, and you're welcome, I say a great show has no middle. It's funny you bring that up.
Again, and here's the middle.
Yeah. Well, when you, Maren, when you pick something as oft used as the middle.
It's ubiquitous.
Hey, how do I feel about gravity? It's everywhere all around us all the time.
You own the word now.
And I have to deal with that. Not deal with it. So you're touring now.
Yeah, because I haven't toured since 2022 on my of my own headline show.
You're one of these artists that feels like you tour more than you do. I feel like you're on the road more than you are.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
we opened for the Chicks last year in Europe and Canada, so it wasn't like my tour, but we were working.
you know what's funny? I feel like when people open for shows, they still use the photography to make it look as if it's their show. And
Yeah.
it's funny when
If it's like an arena or
when
stadium.
someone opens up in a stadium and they're like, thank you, Prague. And there's like a trillion people. And you're like, wait a minute, are you huge in Prague? And I didn't know it.
I've been meaning to tell y'all. Yeah, huge market there for me.
I have touring questions for you.
Okay, here we go.
Now, we get paid too much to complain about touring not being. It's in the price of the ticket that we figure out how to do this stuff. But what would you say is the hardest part for you about touring?
Well, I will say, like, it's been such a gift to have my son out with me, but I will say, like, and some days, like, I will just sleep in, but when he's out, on my weeks I have with him and he's on the road with me, which is, I mean, this is kind of his last year to be able to do that with me before his like kindergarten kicks in, but it's like it's 2 days in one because you're like in that mode and then you're like, oh my God. He's gone to bed at 7:30. My show doesn't start till like 9:15.
It's 2 days in one. Is that also, does that make you two people in one?
I mean, I just don't wear I don't even claim the, like, I wear many hats. I'm like, no, it's the same hat. Like, it's just.
So chemically inside of you, the way you visualize yourself, mom goes on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like thinking about Hayes when I'm singing certain songs.
Right. But there's no Clark Kent Superman thing happening there.
I don't think anymore. Like I maybe there's an expectation of that, but I think it's just ever flowing. It's all the same human. I also think it's like kind of cool to see people that are touring as artists that are also mothers, but also it's not this like Madonna horror complex of like,
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like she's mom today and then tomorrow she's going to put her like slutty bodysuit on and get on stage.
Right.
It's like, no, it's the same human. Right. And I am allowed to be multifaceted. And I think there's some people that like find that extremely confusing, that, you know, I can cuss and drink and smoke and like be this person that's like going through this, but also like at the same time be holding down the fort. And it's weirdly all kind of funneling back to him. Like every dollar I make, every future plan is built around this child. So everything has to be all encompassing for me.
That's incredibly well adjusted. And I say this in case you thought you weren't. What I hear is a phenomenal ability to balance all of that, not by looking at it like 5 different plates, but by one plate. And that's admirable.
Thank you.
It really is.
Thanks. I have help, and I will put that out there. Like, it is not just me. I've got a nanny. I've got a tour manager. I've got a manager.
You want to shout out the Venmo? You want to shout out the Venmo right now?
Yeah, let's do it. And I've worked, you know, really hard to get to that level, to have that help. Yeah. And I don't think I would have been able to have my son and tour if those people weren't available. And also, shout out to Ryan, my ex. Like, the co-parenting thing is so new for us, and I feel like we're doing such a great job so far. Like, Hayes is so happy, and he's like more adjusted to the schedule now, and he gets to come out with me when I'm touring, and then he gets to go see Dad every other week. So I do feel like, yeah, I mean, if Ryan weren't holding down the fort on his weeks and like being really flexible with my crazy ass schedule, I would not be able to do this way.
It's another binary that you have to deal with, the emotional aspect of this, and there is aftermath, and then you also have to co-parent. I'll tell you what this is. What this interview is. This is just a dating video for you. This is just.
I think after this week I realized I've been like either in relationships or just facing myself towards desire for like 20 years.
Facing myself towards desire.
Yeah, like not even necessarily wanting like a serious connection with someone, but just to be desired, which is like really not cool
It's
or
more fun
healthy.
for you to be desired than desire.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes. I do think like the dating thing has been illuminating. It also feels like a giant liability. Just, in terms of not that I've like truly liked someone deeply or trusted them deeply enough yet, but I'm just like, if you are in a place of even like a little bit of notoriety or fame, like just talking on the phone or text messages, things being able to be recorded or like screenshot. Not that I'm like sending nudes or anything. I'm not doing that. But I'm like, what do you do if you like do share secrets with someone
Maren,
and then they like completely fuck you over?
It is the death of sincerity. It is the death of transparency. You have to let yourself fall forward, and you can't, because every time you write something, you wonder, is this going to come back to haunt me? A lot of times for me, it's not on a technological, is this person going to send this screenshot over? And I have some trust in the media that even if someone did send something that said, here's just something he wrote, they would say that's not a story.
Right.
But even just emotionally, you have to try things on to see if they fit.
Right.
You cannot just stand across from someone and decide right then and there how much you're going to give. And I am also a born performer. Not phony, but I'm going to give the complete sense of myself. I enjoy winning people over.
Yeah.
But when that feels like, be careful not to win someone over, because the idea of me can sometimes be a little bigger than who I really am, and the idea of me can precede me. And so for those two reasons, you probably don't have what I have, but we both have the, someone could screenshot this, but I also have the, someone will now hold me to account on this as the most revealing I've been so far, and now that's the new baseline.
No, totally. That's a scary like wall to break through with someone. I mean, I'm not even talking about screenshotting some like
tell me the fear. Tell me the whole fear.
No, even if I've shared something about like a friend, like a friend is going through something, or something about my family, like we're there, because it's been like several months.
I see.
And just not that anyone in the media would care about that, but just, it's like something about dating or just even relationships in general where it's like you have to like just go through that embarrassment and risk of like, I left all my secrets with you.
Dating with Dignity would be the book we'd be writing.
But then would it even be real? Like,
that's
is anything dignified?
That's the problem.
If you're being vulnerable, it doesn't feel dignified.
I'll go deep with you on this one.
Yeah.
I have a hard time getting intimate with people, crossing the line into intimacy, because I feel as if a part of them is going to say, well, there he is doing his thing.
Yeah, like, here's what I've been waiting or expecting.
Here's what I need. And it's like, listen, here's the biggest confession. I have felt over the last several years that the only way I could prove to people I'm not what they think is by never being with anybody.
Yeah. So
that's wrong too.
The black and white of that. Just, I'm not going to give any ammunition, which is also...
By the way, yes, the word is ammunition. And what a crazy extreme word. Those are weapons of war.
Yeah, because it's truly like, especially if you're a self-aware human, and sometimes reputation precedes you, and the idea of you is bigger than the actual you. And there's so many layers to that, because if you puncture that, and like you said earlier, it's exhausting for you, but they feel really energized because they're like, he's actually not this or that. I have like a modicum of that because... when you have enough years in the press, or you have music out for this long, you've done enough interviews, people can piece together an idea of you.
Yes.
I have that, maybe not to like the length of you.
How many minutes do you think it takes to get someone sitting across from you at a table to dispense with all of that and see you for you?
They're not going to see me for the first few interactions.
First few dates.
Yeah. I mean, I'm armored as hell. I think you have to be.
Do you ever tell them that?
No, I mean, they probably like think I'm like really aloof or something, but it's really, really scary. And I think maybe I'll get better at it, but I'm also like kind of cool with the presentation. I'm like, I don't need to show you everything, and I can loosen up and like, joke around. I think humor has been like a really nice conduit of just knowing if this person is going to
Yeah.
get me at all or if I even like them.
Yes.
Because that's another thing is like, do I even like you? And a lot of times within 10 minutes that you don't.
Don't forget, and this is a me thing, so maybe when I say this, I'm telling the other ear, you get to pick.
Yeah.
You get to pick. It's not about making someone else happy that they got to win what they wanted. And you get to pick.
Yeah.
It's your choice. And whether or not that takes 15 different dates with people, 25 different dates, it doesn't mean you're broken to go to number 26 and say, listen, I had a really great time with you. I don't see these dates turning into something long term, and I feel like I should let you know because when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you can really be made to feel like you're a broken human being.
Well, if you're doing that on date 26, I'm
sorry. I didn't mean date 26. I mean 26 separate first dates.
Oh, got it. I thought you meant with the same person. I was that's like a year of dating.
That's psychotic.
I'd be like, you are broken.
No, get up and leave immediately.
Yeah. But I know what you mean.
Right. It's someone said to me years ago, I'd left someone in my business aspect of my career, and I was talking about how upset they were. And someone else I was talking to who'd been in the business for a long time looked at me and said, he'll get over it. What a powerful mantra that is, especially if you've done no wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and you go, he'll get over it, or she'll get over it. It seems really cold.
Yeah.
But what it actually is just a way of protecting your own heart from not feeling crushed by disappointing someone.
I know, because that's a real crippling thing I've got is I never want anyone to feel disappointed, but now I've got to get comfortable with that.
You have to, you know, it's like that's the contract in dating.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not as outspoken as you. Like if we left right now and this was the end of the interview, would you get in the car and write me and say, hey, can we take this part out or that part out?
I'm in this position of like, I remember everything we've talked about and I also have forgotten everything. So I'm in this like cool in between of
Good for you.
I'm just
Not
minute by minute. I don't feel like we've said anything crazy.
In the lunatic country music woman era, was there ever a moment you went to bed and said, I wish that wasn't happening? Or do you know through and through that that's something that you're glad you said and glad you did and you're gonna follow through on it?
I stick by everything I've said. I think the way it's framed sometimes, like there was an LA Times article last year, and it was like Maren Morris is getting the hell out of country music, and it was like a play on my song "Get the Hell Out of Here," and I was like, that is such an annoying headline because I never said that in the article itself. That is not words that came out of my mouth, and so it's like, I guess I'll just live with this. Yeah. But then it becomes a calamity. And I wouldn't, I guess, change it now because it's been a year and I've removed a lot of things from my life and changed them. But, and I feel okay today. But when someone, not even vindictively, I don't know if it was like the editor or what, but just puts that out there, it changes so many trajectories for me. Now I have to not do damage control, but I have to now go, and clear up something I never said. Yeah. And I did that, and I felt
and even
like
clearing it up
exhausted.
Feels funny. Clearing it up feels funny. I've learned that no one ever feels perfect after they clear a thing up.
No, you feel like dirtier.
Because it's just dirtier.
Shame.
Yeah, and it just feels more incomplete. Do you feel like a country artist?
In a lot of ways I do, just because this is what I've grown up loving. I mean, of all genres, that is the one that always reminds me of my childhood and my home. Growing up in, Arlington, and I just feel like when I write songs, whether I'm out here in LA with like my LA friends that write, or if I'm back in Nashville, or if I'm in New York writing, I do have the same like structure of how I learned to write songs on Music Row, where it's just like in what you were saying about a sort of turn of phrase or a normal everyday saying, making it into like an emotional thing that every time you hear it, that song comes up. So then
what's the difference? Is it a pedal steel on a song? Is that what makes it? I feel like I have the same relationship with blues music, where I came from blues music, but I don't feel like I would make a blues album. Right. And then the question starts being, well, what's a blues record? It's an approach. Yeah. And you could put that approach into any songwriting that you had.
And it's bleeding into your
bleeding,
music
yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
So I was, speaking of blues, or like just talking about it. I was talking about this on another podcast, but I was like, I saw you. It was called the Smirnoff Music Center, and it was like 2006 or 7, and I
Is
went
that
with my
Texas?
friends.
That's Dallas,
Yes.
Texas.
And
Yeah.
you came out and you had no shirt on.
There
And
was a moment.
It was the Continuum tour.
There was
so.
a moment where I had no shirt on. It was also extremely hot.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I was in the grass.
Yeah.
So
I
was
knew that I was going
baking.
to sweat through whatever it was I had on.
Sure.
But that was also
the girls loved it. And then I think you kind of said something that was really sweet about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it just, you knew where you were too.
Yes.
So it was it made us
every,
all feel like really special.
Every time I'm in Texas, I know it.
Yeah.
Every August 27th, I know that was the day he passed away. But I think you and I have careers long enough now that whatever that image of ourselves we had in the creation of ourselves, we now have us that's formed around it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do kind of evolve to a place where that thing that gave you the core of what you do is now just the core of what you do. And that's why I don't think there's anything called a departure.
Yeah.
Oh, Maren Morris, her new album is a departure. Not from herself. It's actually the exact opposite. It's actually closer to yourself as you go on and on and on.
Yeah, I think it just becomes more solidified,
Yeah.
because I've always bent different genres throughout my music and the way I sing. But I mean, I think it's, if you listen to like my first record, Hero, and then listen to like this EP with Intermission, you're going to hear a lot of similarities, even though it's different producer, different decade. And a lot of life has happened. I'm just like playing around with the same shit. I'm just getting smarter at it.
Yes. And I also feel like it may have been more of a trade-off for you in terms of going head-to-head with the culture of country music. If it weren't for that 8 months to a year later, that the walls just came down anyway. Did you feel that way too? Like, the walls are already down with that now. Like, anyone from any walk of life can now make country music, which I love. I've said on the channel before, I've played stuff, couldn't believe that someone from this culture using this style of music to then also make country, or sometimes it's not country, but it has a bow, wow, wow on the guitar underneath.
Yeah.
And I believe Shabuzi. Is
Yeah.
it Shabuzi who has basically a country song?
Yeah.
It's almost like you felt in your heart this change was coming.
Yeah.
That, hey, this is... fuck this. And that it wasn't so early into the thing that was like, what, you were sensing something, and then a year later, don't you feel like there is no punishment?
Yeah.
Because it's over anyway. The walls came down anyway.
Yeah, and I'll kind of like clue back in what's going on over there, because even though I'm not like submitting my work anymore for the CMAs, word gets around. I still live in Nashville. All my friends are writers, so it's like I'm still proud of like living there and their projects.
Yeah.
Whether they're just a songwriter on a song or they're coming out with something themselves, it's like, yeah, the race looks so different than a year or two ago. It's like,
yes, exactly.
With like Shabuzi and Post Malone coming in and making this country album, and he's like, from kind of my neck of the woods too, so that always felt like really seamless. But then like Jelly Roll, and it's just like there's so many names that you're like, wait, 5 years ago you'd be like, what the hell?
That's right.
And I love it. And obviously, Beyonce with Cowboy Carter, there's amazing strides happening. But yeah, so the wall, you're right, the walls came down without my help. So I think
I don't know about that. I actually don't know about that. Now, it stands to reason that you probably shouldn't say the walls came down because of you, but someone else gets to. And I think you took a hell of a big spoonful of rock out of that Shawshank Redemption wall behind the poster. I don't know.
Oh my God, I love that.
I don't know why that metaphor came up.
That was really good. No, I mean, that's really sweet. And I still have like so much love and like reverence for the medium that is country music, because I don't think it's the artists really. I think it's like the stories of real people. And you can get so caught up in all of the shit, and we could do this all day with any genre. Like if you're going to the Grammys, just even people in like the pop and like the jazz and classical categories are getting pissed off about this or that. The fucking Americana categories.
The walls are down.
Everyone's just so like whether it's super niche or they want it to be like they want to hang on to this nicheness. It's not just country music that has gone through that.
Everywhere in the world can feel tomorrow coming really fast.
Yeah.
And it's frightening to a lot of people. I'm told I have 10 more minutes with you. I love going deep, but I also love spicy questions.
Okay.
I have a list of spicy questions.
I was wondering I thought you sketched that.
These are chili peppers to let anyone who was curious know. Don't touch these questions.
Yeah.
These are the spicy ones.
My dad would love that artwork. He makes salsa. So
Really?
Yeah, he has a salsa brand.
You want to plug it?
It's called Vado Blanco.
Vado Blanco.
White dude.
That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you have a name that quickly comes to mind when you think of the worst celebrity you've ever met? It's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you for not making me say it.
I'm not interested in who.
But
I'm
sure.
just interested in that there is one. And
yeah. But like,
no.
I think anyone that you would ask that question of absolutely has like, their dreams dashed.
But it comes quickly. But the name comes quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Or like it was a hero that like deeply disappointed you.
Yeah. So you have the answer right on the
Sure.
spot. Maren Morris,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any banned words in your Instagram comments that you have put into Instagram so that they don't get posted?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't even have to do that anymore. Like
Someone else does it?
Social girl Avery does it. But
what's one of the banned words?
Would
you share one of the banned words?
Oh my god, it's probably something like to do with the Aldines that's been banned.
Okay.
I would have to go through it.
Okay, that's great.
And then like the bad words, like the ones you don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The real heavy hitter ones.
The shitty ones.
Yeah. Have you ever Googled your net worth?
No.
Okay.
But I guess if I did, like, it would be really off.
That was my next question.
I feel like it's probably less.
Was it close? I think, oh, wait a minute. Is this your way of kind of hinting at the fact that you had looked at yours?
I think like back in the day, like when I had one song out, it was like Maren Morris is worth $400,000, and I was like, no, I'm not.
You were worth more than that.
No, I wasn't worth that yet. I was like, hell no.
Wow. Well, wait, but I'd rather them overshoot, right?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd rather them overshoot. They just don't know about your investments.
Yeah. It's so good at investing.
Here's a question that's not going to make air. Do you think I've been to a Diddy party?
Weirdly enough, I don't think you have.
I have not been to a Diddy party.
You don't give me that vibe.
Thank you. Not been to a Diddy party.
I feel like also maybe it's like a social thing, and I've seen you at like your house at Montana. I was like, this isn't giving. I mean, it's obviously not giving Diddy.
Nothing could be more opposite than the Diddy party than you and I in my backyard with a bunch of friends and your bandmates,
right?
Ordering Taco Bell from the Livingston, Montana Taco Bell, which they really overloaded their capacity.
It was so perfect.
And we had a campfire in my backyard in Montana,
next to the river, and we're all cozied up by the fire eating Taco Bell. Like that's luxury to me.
That was
That's
the exact
living.
opposite. That's my kind of party.
Okay.
Maren Morris.
Yes.
You're in a relationship that ends after about 6 months. It was your fault. What did you most likely do to cause it?
I may have written a song, not stealing from the relationship, but mining a little bit.
And that would be like, hey, I can't be with someone who's going to just
They implode on themselves because they know it's cemented eternally in the ether.
I just love the question.
I don't even have to date 6 months for that one to happen. It's already happened.
What did you do wrong if something went wrong? Yeah, for me, it would be probably something selfish. It would be like...
Well, that's all we are.
It would be selfish, and I wouldn't be able to admit that the selfishness existed because I didn't care enough. And so I would have to go down with the ship of it being selfish, because what I really couldn't do was say it was that I didn't quite care enough to put all of it into it. And then I'd have to sit and take a beating under false pretenses, which I have done before and will do again.
I think that's actually, like, sadly, you clocked me so hard on that one, because I was like, I've definitely done this.
Yeah, I think we've all done it. That just means we've all done it.
Yeah. Well, that's a great answer, though. That's real.
Yeah, but yours was as well. In fact, this whole conversation was real, and I just want to tell you, in my life, the artists that I know nobody has been more show up when needed than you have been. And you have sat in with me at my shows. You've come to the arena and stayed around and been at sound check. And I just want you to know that I will be there for you anytime you ever need me, musically or otherwise. And I can't thank you enough for coming to talk to me. I just think you're the best, and I really cherish your friendship.
Oh my God. Well, honestly, I love you so much. It's been like an amazing journey just getting to know you, and you've shown up for me at my shows, and you've even been shirtless getting a tattoo, which every woman in my and gay person in my camp really enjoyed.
Thank you. I got it.
Rico.
I don't know if I still
Shout
have
out
it.
Rico.
Maren, I believe it was the last show of your tour at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
I came and I sat in.
And which was amazing.
It was amazing. It's always amazing with you. And then I went out in the crowd and just enjoyed one of the best vibes in a crowd ever, which is your crowd. But the tattoo that I got, that I will debut here because you allowed me to get it. I got a tattoo of Dimitri, who is the maitre d' at the Sunset Tower.
Yeah.
And Dimitri is on my...
Oh, yeah. Oh, it looks great. It's been like 2 years.
That is Dimitri, who is the maitre d', once again, by the way, for those clocking, at Sunset Tower. And I have you to thank for that. And I have you to thank for a lot of stuff. You just feel like you kind of stand up for me, and it means a lot to me.
I love you. This was so nice.
The EP is called Intermission. It's out now. Maren Morris is on the road. Check her out visually and sonically.